الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الصلاة خير من النوم الصلاة خير من النوم الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله اللهم لك الحمد كله ولك الشكر كله بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم به نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله تعالى من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهديه الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له ونشهد أن سيدنا ونبينا وشفيعنا محمدا عبده ورسوله أرسله الله بالهدى ودين الحق بين يدي الساعة بشيرا ونذيرا وداعيا إلى الله بإذنه وسراجا منيرا أما بعد Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My dear respected brothers, sisters, and elders, it's a blessing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that we constantly have this ability and this opportunity to come together in congregation to remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala at all hours of the day, mashallah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There's a blessing that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has allowed Islamic Society of Greater Houston to facilitate all of these wonderful programs to keep the community engaged and to serve the community here in Houston and abroad, all over the country, mashallah. A quote that comes to mind, Ibn Ata'illah al-Askandari, he said, "Ijtihaduka fima dumina lak." He said, you're striving for that which is guaranteed for you. Wa taqsiruka fima tuliba mink. And your laziness with that which is demanded of you. Dalilun ala intimasi basiratik. It is an indication that you have lost your mind. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, for us, He guarantees our life. He guarantees for us our sustenance. He guarantees for us the quality of our life. These are things that are guaranteed for us. These are things that are written before the soul is blown into the fetus that is inside of the mother's womb. Before we go from fetus to insan inside of the mother's womb, all of these things are written for us. Imagine that we are in the desert and we have no hope for sustenance. We have no hope for life. We have no hope for continuity. And we stumble upon an oasis. We stumble upon a large body of water, drinkable water, right? Palatable water. Our next move should be what? It should be to look for food because now we have already found our water. How ignorant would it be for us to spend the rest of the day looking for more water when the water has become guaranteed for us? So oftentimes we come into this dunya and we say, after Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He asks us, He gathers all of the souls in the abode of the souls. And He says, He asks us a question that is presented to us in the Quran. He says, Alastu bi rabbikum. And every single soul, whether it be of any religion or any thought in this dunya, every single soul in the abode of the souls says, Bala, absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt. And when we leave this earth, we also affirm the existence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We come into this world by affirming Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's power, His qudra, His existence, His wahdaniyah, His wajibul wujud, the fact that He is the only one that is necessarily existent. We come to terms with that before we come into this dunya. And when we leave this dunya, we also come to terms with that. But the issue is that in this short period of time of life, we forget who is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And so in this, and that is the nature of this test. That is the nature of this test. That's why He gave us this book, right? It's a clear description for us, right? It is something that is understandable by the mind. It is a book of guidance. It's a book, it's a source of knowledge. It's the ultimate source of knowledge for us human beings. And so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says, وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ, that we only created the ins and the jinns to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Ibn Abbas radiallahu ta'ala anhu, he says that لِيَعْبُدُونَ here means لِيَعْرِفُونَ, yani to get to know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala only created the ins and the jinns to get to know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is our primary purpose. That is our primary objective in this dunya. And when we let that objective go and we start to get fixated on our careers and we get fixated on our wealth and we get fixated on our financial portfolios, then it is an indication that we have lost our way, right? It's an indication that we have lost our way because this is not what we were created for, right? And it doesn't matter, right? It's not a problem if we have millions of dollars and we have very fancy houses and we have beautiful vehicles. It's not a problem so long as the dunya is in my hand and not in my heart. So long as the dunya is in my hand and the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is in my heart, it doesn't matter how wealthy I am or how poor I am. I will not be questioned for it so long as that I'm utilizing my resources as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He commanded us that we are simply custodians of the wealth that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us. So my dear respected brothers, sisters and elders, our principal purpose on this dunya is to get to know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And in this month of Ramadan, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, kutiba alaykum as-siyam, kama kutiba ala alladhina min qablikum la'allakum tattaqun. That, oh, you who believe, we have prescribed for you, right? When we think about a prescription, we think about a disease, right? So what is this prescription for? I have prescribed for you fasting, just like I did for the people that came before you. Yani, this is a time-tested prescription. For what? So that you can become conscious of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What is the disease? It is the heedlessness, right? that comes in the heart and the mind that we forget about who is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the principal purpose behind us fasting is so that we begin to know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We begin to become conscious of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We begin to honor the presence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he said, من صام رمضانا إيمانا واحتسابا غفر له ما تقدم من ذنبه, that he who fasts with iman and hope, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgives for him his previous sins. In another narration, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he says, من قام رمضانا إيمانا واحتسابا غفر له ما تقدم من ذنبه. He who stands, right? He who stands in the middle of the night with iman and hope that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will forgive him, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will forgive him of his previous sins. And the Prophet ﷺ, he had 3 stages of da'wah. The first stage was when he first received revelation, and he was only doing da'wah to the people that were very, very close to him, like Khadija radiallahu ta'ala anha, who he didn't even have to do da'wah for. Abu Bakr radiallahu ta'ala anhu, he didn't even have to do da'wah for him. Right? These people just straight up believed him. And Khadija radiallahu ta'ala anha, may Allah be pleased with her and elevate her evermore, she convinced the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and she calmed him down. She is the person that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam went for solace, right? So when the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was in this stage of da'wah, and also when he was going into the second stage of da'wah, which we see in Surah Al-Shu'ara, وَأَنذِرْ عَشِيرَتَكَ الْأَقْرَبِينَ, when the command came to go and give da'wah to his family members, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was training him. And how did he train him? He trained him by commanding him to spend the night in prayer. And at the time, very few verses of the Quran were revealed at the time. And so the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was being commanded, obligated to spend 50 to 75% of the night standing in prayer with just a few verses of the Quran. And he would have to reflect over that over and over and over and over and over again. Why? Because this was a way for him to understand clearly and deeply وَاذْكُرْ رَبُّ الْمَشْرِقِ وَالْمَغْرِبِ لَا إِلَهَ إِلَّا هُوَ فَاتَّخِذْ وَكِيلًا, that Allah is the owner of the West and the owner of the West. And so he should be taken as his support, right? So this nightly prayer, it increases us in our iman and in our ability to continue with our life in the best way possible. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he also consoles the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He says, we already know that your chest is constrained with what the mushrikeen are saying. وَلَقَدْ نَعْلَمُ أَنَّكَ يَضِيقُ صَدْرُكَ بِمَا يَقُولُونَ. We already know. And so if you want to overcome this problem that is in your heart, this anxiety, this depression, this feeling of loneliness, what should you do? He says, فَسَبِّحْ بِحَمْدِ رَبِّكَ وَكُن مِّنَ السَّاجِدِينَ. So exalt your Lord, right? And praise your Lord and be from those who prostrate to him. وَاعْبُدْ رَبَّكَ حَتَّى يَأْتِيَكَ الْيَقِينَ. And continue to worship him until you gain that level of certainty that will keep your iman strong, that will keep your emotional stability in the right way, and you will be able to conquer anything that you so choose. So just to end here, my dear respected brothers, sisters, and elders, just as if we were in front of a large body of water in the desert, and we would, if we spent the rest of the day looking for more water, we would be absolutely ignorant. Similarly is the case that if we spend our day in this dunya only worrying about the dunya, then we will be from the people of ignorance. And we want to be from the people of wisdom. We want to be from the people of iman. And so we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that he accepts us from them. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that he rises us with the people of the Quran. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that he rises us with the people of forgiveness. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that he accepts from us our fast. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that he accepts from us our qiyam. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He accepts from us our sujood. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He accepts from us our ruku'. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He accepts from us our Quran. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He forgives us of our major and our minor sins. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He opens our hearts and opens our minds, that He purifies them, that He protects them. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He makes Sirat al-Mustaqim beautiful and beloved for us, that He makes it the only path for us. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He grants us success in this life and the hereafter. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdik. نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك ونتوب إليك وصلى الله تعالى على خير خلقه محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. جزاكم الله خير والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.